Welcome back, everyone. My name is JP. Glad you guys have joined us again here at the Canada Cup. Canada's, can I dare say, premier Liverpool podcast?
Self-proclaimed. Biggest Liverpool podcast in Canada.
Perfect. That's what I love.
That's what I love. It's a safe assumption, I think.
Easy assumption there. That voice there is my buddy and cohort, Ben Deutsch. Doing all right today, brother?
Doing great today.
Good.
You know, my sober September, for all you listeners, it turned into a sober September if you pretend September is February.
The 28
day sober September.
On a non-leap year. But hey, you beat everybody else pretty handily.
I did. So, back on the wagon, so.
Fortunately, I wasn't competing there.
Yeah.
John looks hard at work there with some notes and keeping himself on point here. You all prepped there, man? You're good?
Germany, yes. Mexico, no. Portugal, yes. Australia, no. Sorry, I'm just following up on last week's geography lesson. How you doing, JP?
I'm glad you're learning, man.
There is a test. So
there's a test at the end, and I'm sure Ben's got that.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's just one of the many things we are going to be touching base on today. We got a number of things. Recapping the Liverpool-Arsenal game from the weekend. Carabao Cup game against Lincoln City. We're going to follow up on some of the new transfers. A couple other big results over the weekend. We'll touch base on the next couple matches. We got Arsenal again coming up, and then Villa on the weekend. So lots of games to get to. We might have a little trivia, a little game in the mix there. But as always, we're going to start it off with recapping what's becoming a good sign for the 2020-2021 season with a pretty hefty, one-sided, dominant Liverpool performance. Am I overselling that, guys, as a dominant performance?
Sorry, which one are you talking about? Because I think that we had two.
Touché.
Honestly, I think you're probably talking about Arsenal. You're probably talking about the weekend. You're probably talking about the Premier League, which is the one that we kind of care about. But I think you're absolutely right. Arsenal, with the exception of being gifted a goal, never really looked into it. They had one real solid chance and one that was offside. And Alisson looked to be back to his normal shot-stopping self. I think along the right side of defense, both Trent and Gomez were back to form, back to where we want them to be. Some people are calling it a redemption game for Gomez. So I mean, I'm not putting that in anybody's particular mouth.
That might be a bit of a stretch to call it a redemption game.
I won't go that far.
I think we had the likes of Keita keeping the likes of Aubameyang quiet the entire game. I think Keita is coming into his new role under Klopp. Maybe that's been part of the reason why he's kind of flattered to deceive.
Was it a Keita redemption game?
Maybe. Like Ceballos making me nervous in the back half of the game until James Milner comes on. And then all of a sudden, the only person who was nervous on the field was Rob Holding because Jota came on and gave another 20 minutes of the same that he was getting from Mane all game. It's absolutely dominant performance.
So Ben, John just hit up on 8 different players there and praised everybody in there. You gonna follow up on all those guys, or are you gonna highlight somebody else?
Well, okay. So first off, yes, it was a good win. I mean, I'm just double checking here the stats, which are the all important. 66% percentage against top 4 opposition.
Is Arsenal top 4?
Yeah, okay. Historically top 4. Top 10 certainly. No, it was a great game. I mean, Robbo was a little sloppy at the beginning, and as Gary Neville so accurately put to not Gary Neville, Roy Keane. Roy Keane. Yeah, it was a sloppy performance by Liverpool. Very accurate. No, I mean, it's hard to disagree. I mean, you know me, like being devil's advocate every now and then, but it's hard to disagree. I think if there's one player who I wasn't mad at, I was just disappointed. It was Trent. I thought Trent did have a great game. He got a yellow. He had a couple of defensive mishaps here and there. I mean, usually they turned out to be offside, but still. But other than that, and again, as John kind of alluded to, I mean, like you said, he hit pretty much every player. So I'm just going down the list here. Yeah, my professional opinion, and I'm nothing but a professional. Bit of a Gomez redemption game. I think there was a lot of question marks about Gomez as center back, and I think he put up a good performance.
I think it was a pretty solid performance. Not taking anything away from it.
Well,
no major mistakes.
I'll put it to this, JP: the absence of a mistake is a good game for Gomez.
And I did not say it wasn't.
I mean, it's a good game.
But if that's the bar, we're setting there.
Hey, well, yeah. I mean, okay. If this is how we're treating Joey Gomez here. Like, it's
true enough.
It's kind of like that disobedient kid. Like, oh look, he went the entire movie without making noise.
And he's still a young kid, so I mean, I'm never gonna hold him to the Virgil van Dijk standard. So if he can hold his own and keep pace with Big Virg, then that's good. And granted, I thought it was good. He looked confident on the ball. No big mistakes or errors in there. And even Robbo's one error was, it just looked like spun off the wrong way, deflected off, and then even Lacazette's finish was a mistake. He mishit it. If he had hit it properly, I'm pretty confident Alisson was making the right movement there. So that was a double luck.
That was a big luck thing. Yeah, that was definitely a big luck thing.
But the beauty of it was they never looked out of place. And it looked solid right across the board. And the press, I mean, that was vintage. Like, that was just, I shouldn't say vintage, it's only been about a year or two of Liverpool being this great.
Vintage earlier 2020.
Early 2020 and 2019. But, like, they were up attacking to the point. There was a couple times on Arsenal's goal kicks, Leno would just play it off to one of his backs in the box. The press would come, they'd pass it back to Leno, and then he would huff it long. So at that point, they're just giving up. Like, they don't know how to get around it properly.
More often than not, what I was seeing, because the only thing that I saw live, I watched the whole game, but the only part of it I saw live was the last 30 minutes, because some of us have to work for a living. But
we're all unemployed.
Yeah. God bless, sir.
No, but the last 30 minutes or so, it seemed like Leno was trying to lay the ball off to Holding or to one of his other defenders, and all of a sudden there's Bobby, just on them.
Definitely.
And then the defender tries to play it out, and suddenly Mane has the ball, and suddenly we're pinging in another cross, and they're giving up another corner, or we're giving up a goal kick. It just seemed like we were just pinning them back in every single move of even when they were in possession, they didn't seem to be able to do anything with it. It was just wild. And then, like I say, Diogo Jota comes on, and it's just more of the same. We haven't had that before, as far as I can remember.
When did he come on? He came on near the end, so he got a solid 20, 30 minutes.
It was about 20 minutes, I would say. Yeah.
We'll double check that, because he looked fantastic. Scored in the 88th.
Well, it's funny. I was listening to the Anfield Wrap earlier on today. And
no free ads.
They made the point of
we'll send them the bill for it.
For better or for worse.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, when Divock Origi comes on, the game changes in some way.
Always positively.
With Diogo Jota coming on for Mane, it was more of the same, that for like substitution that we haven't had really since we established this dominant front three. This for like substitution, suddenly he was just absolutely playing in a lot of ways, playing the same way that our front three plays, and that he'll miss two sitters and then score the difficult one on the volley. Just an absolute beauty of a goal, and I absolutely love to see it. And just what a shame that he did not. He was doing that in front of the cop. What a shame that there was no one there.
Yeah, that would have been a great game to see. To have a brand new player score against Arsenal in front of the cop. You saw the players, they were jumping on him. I haven't seen that much jubilation in those guys.
They were just jovial
for a while. They're jovial, beautiful.
Jubilation
that? And jovial. And John, you gonna add something else in there?
Joe Teal.
Yeah. So we strike three on that one. All right. That's all right. But that Diogo up there was great, and he even had another great opportunity. And I guess the new guy syndrome wanted to leave it for Salah, and they got a little confused and lost it. And you can see them both being like, that was a goal.
You got to understand, it's like prison rules up in there, right? You don't on your debut, you just don't go out and score, especially when the big guy there, Mohamed Salah, is just hanging around. So he paid his lip.
About 5'9", so
he paid his lip service, and then he was like, okay, I can stab the warden now. And
Ben knows a little too much about prison reform here again.
I've gotten some gambling trouble.
All right. So,
next week on Oz.
Well, you did win that 10 corner bet against
I did win those 10. Yeah, always bet the over on corners.
There you go,
kids.
So let's keep with the forwards though, because now with Diogo Jota, Minamino came on for a bit too, and he's been doing really well. Origi did great with Lincoln City. We got a nice front three there, right behind our world-class front three. So is this like the understudies coming up behind them? How do we feel about that? Go ahead, Joe.
I mean, absolutely thrilled with what we have. Like Takumi Minamino, particularly with his brace against Lincoln. He like the line is he feels like a new signing, and that's kind of a joke, but like he literally does because he only just joined us in January. I don't think he really settled with the team until he started to settle in during sort of the COVID lockdown period. Now we're starting to see the fruits of that labor, as far as I'm concerned. The real test does come when we have a Minamino start in the league. We haven't seen that yet. He's had small sort of cameos, but like I would be perfectly comfortable with slotting in Jota during Villa on the weekend. Like I could definitely see that happening.
I could see either one of them starting.
Yeah, exactly. Like Minamino, like it's a question of what does that end up looking like? Does he end up playing in sort of Bobby's role? Does he play it on the wing? He can do both. Is he successful there? Are we set up for success? Does Klopp give him the midfield that kind of will allow him to do that, which he kind of had against Lincoln because of the nature of the competition and nature of the opposition? Ultimately, like I could see Jota slotting right in. We've seen what Origi can do in positions where he's able to notch one away. I mean, against Lincoln, he was barely in the game and he still scored. Like it's honestly, I'm really pleased with our depth this season. It's weird to feel good about our bench.
And that was a big thing. I said that a lot last year, where I would think that our starting 11 can compete with any starting 11 in the world. It's our bench is going to have a tough time against someone like City. But you're talking about Lincoln City. Let's touch base on that quickly. So Jota got in there a bit. Minamino started. Origi started. A bunch of the kids were in there. A hefty 7-2 victory. It looked like it was pretty easy for the kids. Ben, I mean, anybody stand out for you there? Adrian did well. A couple goals here and there.
I'm not gonna lie to you, JP. I had a big bet on for the UEFA Super Cup, which was happening concurrently. So sitting at home, I was watching the first half. So we went up comfortably and figured I'd go watch where I had some money on the line. That being said, I watched the first half and went back and watched the highlights. I didn't completely ignore it.
Was it an easy win for the kids?
Absolutely. Well, it was an easy win, and I think what was coolest for me was seeing a guy like Curtis Jones, who's become my favorite, cameo appearance. Especially in I hate to say it, especially in kind of the unimportant games. He's really
had these games to give people like Jones, players like Jones.
He is the king of insignificant outcomes.
Jesus.
What a guy! And those curlers, like that trademark curler he has there, like that is just a thing of beauty. And I gotta say, my all-time favorite player, respect to Divock Origi, Xherdan Shaqiri made an appearance. His hair just looking amazing.
That was fantastic.
And then he looked like he had put on like 20 pounds, and I don't know if it was either mass or fat. Doesn't really matter. Because he put all that weight behind the ball and just scored amazingly. And he's going to go back probably into obscurity for the next 10 years. He's going to go back into his cave and hibernate. But that was an amazing goal.
He's a frustrating guy for me because I loved him when he played in. He played great. He was integral in that Barca comeback.
Oh, he
free
was.
Kick like that.
The Man United game last year. Man United game. What was it, 2 years ago? It was Jose Mourinho's last game as manager, and Shaqiri scored twice. And he was like an instant hero, and then he got injured, and everyone kind of forgot about it.
A calf injury,
yeah.
So Jones had 2, Minamino had 2, Adrian, he played well in there. Our defense was a little suspect in there.
Against the elite attacking of Lincoln City.
Hey, no, actually, one of the young guys on Lincoln City, I won't pull it up, he was actually, me and Paul Midget were watching, we're like, that young kid up front, I can't remember his name now, he was, I could see him making his way up the leagues in the future. But nonetheless, John?
Just 2 points on that. I think, first of all, yes, maybe some suspect decisions. It was Lincoln City, and we still won the game by 5 goals. I saw, like, I don't know if you guys saw this at all, but Nico Williams getting some stick on social media ended up, I think, deactivating his Twitter for a minute.
Why was he getting?
Because, like, I guess he made some ultimately insignificant mistake. I'm so sorry, but if you're going to go after a 19-year-old kid who is a real, like, shining light talent in our youth squad, like,
I will kind of go after him for a second. Like,
I don't
know. If you, like, having a legitimate criticism of a particular moment in the game, absolutely have that criticism. But like to be like, get the out of here, you're not worth it. Sorry about that. Get the hell out of here, you're not worth it.
Bleep that out. So
that's just that's why you can't listen to social media.
It's ridiculous, and you don't belong. It's these people who like have never like grown with this team and never actually seen Liverpool play poorly, who are seeing this sort of thing. It's kind of the same sort of thing. Like I think a lot of people look and are willing to judge Adrian's entire Liverpool career based on one
Atletico game.
Based on one game.
He was so great when Alisson went down last year.
He made 11 appearances in the Premier League last year. How many of them were wins? 11.
You could not ask more from a backup keeper. People are trashing him for that one game, and I mean, anyway, we'll leave that there.
I'm not advocating cyberbullying. This podcast officially disavows cyberbullying and racism.
Thank you for clarifying that.
So,
thank you for bringing that
official status. We disavow it. However, you're a professional athlete. It's going to happen, and you hate to see it, but it's going to happen. So,
that being said, this is the first time I'm hearing about it, John. If he just deactivated Twitter, great. But I don't think any pro athletes and stuff should be on Twitter and social media for that exact reason, Ben, because we're all entitled to our opinion, and most people are perfectly content just bitching and complaining without any consequences.
I'll be sitting in a chair drinking like 10 beers and criticizing professional athletes all the time.
What I will say though, Nico, because I thought he's been fantastic. I got the sense, and then I might be grasping at a bit straws here or insinuating stuff, but I got the sense he was being a little overconfident and a little cocky, real comfortable, getting a little too fancy here and there instead of keeping it. He's still a young kid. He's still a lot to grow into. And hey, I've never been to that level, so who am I? But I got the sense it was a little, I'm a big shot now. But that being said, I'll still go back for him. I think he's great. I think he's got a great future with Liverpool and really hope he keeps flourishing with us.
Absolutely.
What about the 6'5" mini Virgil van Dijk we had back in there? Not Billy Cumietto, or how do you pronounce his name? The Frenchman. Coutinho. Reece Williams. This guy kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't really know who he was. He's
Welsh giant.
Kind of a man bun like Virgil. And man, I thought he did quite well. Played the whole 90. First half with Virgil, second half with Fabinho. Confident in the ball, made some nice long balls.
Between him and Billy Cumietto and Fabinho sort of proving himself to be, I think if Fabinho wasn't such an amazing holding midfielder, he would be a starting number 6 starting number 4 for half of the league. I can totally understand now why Klopp decided that he was satisfied with his options at center back in terms of cover for the top two. Like it's wild, like how well he was playing, and like you said, he excelled, I guess, in some preseason action and all that sort of stuff, but like really looked the finished article as far as I'm concerned.
It was Lincoln City.
It was Lincoln City.
Let's calm her down here.
Let's be honest.
I know what you're getting at, though. Like he looks, he's 19. He's almost probably ready to make a jump into a proper league.
A growth spurt, you might say.
I think goes more. Oh man. So he did great. So I know where you're coming from. We got with the 2 young kids, Fabinho, Gomez. Man, as much as I love Matip, I don't know if he's ever going to be healthy enough to be reliable again, which is too bad. Because I thought he's had some great.
I think it definitely bodes well for us that because we got Virgil van Dijk, and us as center backs was like the greatest thing. We felt like we had one of the greatest center backs in the world. It's always been shaky on who we paired him with. So I think it's promising seeing like Cumietto, Reece Williams, who is not apparently the Welsh actor who died in 1969. So apologies on that.
God bless Wikipedia.
Yeah, but that aside, it is promising to see those kids coming up. So
Yeah.
love to see it.
And just to recap for that Liverpool Arsenal game, we had predictions that game. Ben and John both went with a 3-2 victory. Handsome Jamie behind the camera there went with a 1-0 victory. And get that ticker ready there, Jamie, because I went with a 3-1 victory. So now it's 2-0, 0, and 0.
You keep on making me make these predictions when I'm like 3 beers deep and like concerned about Liverpool.
It's all strategy, man.
Yeah.
It's all strategy.
Here, have another drink.
So we're gonna get to that Villa strategy after at least 1 or 2 more propeller there for you. So unless you guys got anything else you want to add on those games, we can move on.
Happy to move on.
We're moving on out. So now let's go over some. Just some news, some topics that have come up. Definitely not as much as last week. Because last week we had like signings galore and all kinds of crazy stuff coming out. But it's worthwhile to touch base on those guys. So our 3 big signings, Thiago, Diogo, and Tsimikas. We can touch base quickly on each one there. Tsimikas, a little bit of time, played the full 90.
I don't know if I call him a big signing per se. I think you got a little bit of bias there, JP.
They got 3 signings.
You said 3 big signings.
Did I say 3 big signings?
You did say 3 big signings.
I'll agree. Tsimikas is not a big signing.
Can confirm.
Yeah, rewind there. Okay. So we can edit out the big signing because, maybe I'm just trying to push him into the category. And who knows, man? Robbo goes down, Tsimikas becomes the second coming. Nonetheless, he played the full 90 with against Lincoln City. Solid. Nothing really to add there. I'm looking for. I'm hoping he gets some proper time, even against Villa. Give Robbo some breaks. Any thoughts there?
Well, I mean, I'll move on to beyond Tsimikas up to Thiago, because I think we got to touch on this real briefly. That he,
as we're recording this today, the news just broke.
Yeah, let's just say he spread quite a bit when he had that passing record. So. No, Thiago. I know you're listening right now, Thiago. So hope you do feel better. But
he's got nothing else to do while he's still.
That's true. Yeah. So he can,
maybe we should say the thing out loud that we're all sort of hinting around. It was confirmed by the club today that Thiago has tested positive for COVID-19.
Which COVID-19 is a liberal hoax. It doesn't actually exist. So.
The interesting thing to me coming out of this is that, Klopp said in his interview, which they almost certainly knew that it was a probable COVID positive test. I think that the reason that they didn't confirm was there was a possibility of a false positive. Sort of the same reason I think Alisson was a doubt for the weekend as well.
Yeah, it all makes sense now, doesn't it?
Yeah. It does. Yeah, I think it was a situation where is maybe Thiago I think tested positive, but is not necessarily in a situation where he is going to have a long-term.
We're trying to have a serious discussion over here.
Stint with the disease.
Have a serious discussion.
The interesting thing to me is it does seem to be a mild case, and the question seems to be that he might be ready for Merseyside.
He's out for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna have to follow.
There's no two ways about that. And
that puts him in contention for the Merseyside Derby.
I think basically all the reporting I heard is that it is he's mildly symptomatic. But you know what?
He's doing okay.
For better or for worse, this is the reality that we're living in right now. That this is a thing. It's across all sports too. If we can broach into NFL, just news broke today that a huge amount of the Tennessee Titans have all come back with positives, and they're trying to figure out what that means. So it's a new reality we got to deal with. So I think we can be thankful. In a kind of cynical way, I was happy to find out it was COVID and not a severe muscle injury. So
that's a weird thing to kind of be happy about. But
because when I heard the news,
damage, calf injury, that's long term. Ideally, and we're not medical professionals or anything like that.
Speak for yourself.
Who knows? Okay.
I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I just play one on TV.
But nonetheless, hopefully he's got no lasting effects and it's fast.
Yeah, because you never know what happens in training, and that was my concern with both him and Alisson.
Who else was exposed to it? Well, you made the joke that he made most passes ever in a half of a Premier League game, but if he was symptomatic, then hey,
Chelsea
those guys.
and Chelsea as well as Liverpool players.
Yeah.
Hey, it's the reality we're living in right now.
It seems like it's they would have already gone through all those protocols and figured that out. So it looks like it's been controlled as best as possible. So that's great to hear. And on the topic of the signings, we already talked about Jota, but now that we've got a great front three in there, we're loaded in the midfield. I'm getting a little worried about Brewster and possibly even Origi because Brewster didn't dress, and I'm curious to see him dressing on Thursday. But Palace was still in for it. Sheffield was in for it.
Yeah, I can actually speak to that right now, JP.
Something pulled up.
If you'll indulge me. From Sky Sports, Sheffield have made a £17 million bid for Ryan Brewster and are crucially open to the prospect of a buyback clause.
Brewster watch.
So, thanks for respecting the prohibition on the beach.
Did it say how long it would be?
No, there's no. Yeah, that's just for the transfer fee. So no talk about of contract or what the buyback is. But I think what we were talking about a couple episodes ago, wasn't it $2 million outright or $10 million in a buyback? Seems like Sheffield is going to do close to $20 million plus a buyback.
I didn't see any actual numbers. We just talked about 25. I think the Crystal.
Yeah. Well, no, this was your hypothetical. Would you take a 25 million outright or a 10 million in buyback? It looks like we're going to nearly get our cake and eat it too here.
To be honest, money wouldn't even make a big difference to me as a fan. I want the club to be healthy financially, of course, but I don't want to lose them at this critical point unless it's something ridiculous fee. Well, basically, and I think that's what I got to last week.
I want to a certain extent, like if there's a situation where we have the first right to buy him in a situation where he becomes the next whoever, the next Mbappe, let's just say,
the next Divock Origi.
Yeah, the next Divock Origi. God help us all if there's another one of those in the world. Where the football can barely
universe.
There's only room for one statue of him.
Football can barely sustain Messi versus Ronaldo. Imagine Origi versus second coming of Origi. But, if we have the first buyback, like absolutely to have him playing football for a team like Sheffield, which I think he slots into that starting 11 really. He
would slot into a lot of starting 11.
Yeah, like I think, and like also I think just Sheffield is just like a really exciting team that he could do very well.
And you know what? And Sheffield, they went from their season last year to going 0-3 to start, so they could use a bit of a shakeup. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm a little scared on that.
That might be down to some goalkeeping issues. But
that's probably a good reason why they're probably looking. So anything to shake it up at this stage.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So let's stick with the rest of the league there because there were some big games. I mean, Sheffield dropped 1-0, I think, but they had a red card too. That was against
Aston Villa.
Is that Villa? Yes, it was.
Our soon-to-be opponents.
There you go.
Fulham dropping 3-0 against was it the Hammers?
Fulham also lost. No, Fulham lost to Aston Villa yesterday.
Villa, that's what it was.
Villa, they're on a tear. Be careful.
They're because they are actually because they're
0-2. 0-2 to start. 2-0. Yeah, the opposite of that.
So they got the two wins there. But I'm more concerned about the two at the top of the table right now, which Villa's just behind, with Leicester and Everton. Because Leicester, what a beautiful. No, I'll be honest. I watched the game. Leicester City. City scored. Mahrez had a great strike. Just roofed it. Although Schmeichel was weird. I've never seen Schmeichel flinch backwards on that. That was weird. Like he was going and he kind of pulled back as if he was almost scared of it, which is weird. But he probably just thought it was going wide. And then 2 penalties, a couple breaks.
Jamie Vardy, more like.
Oh man, this pun meter is getting too far already.
Well, it's funny. It's interesting because it was all part and parcel of the bigger discussion of like VAR and officiating this.
Manchester VAR United.
Yeah, I mean, not to cut you off here, but
I might just pack him and leave with that.
That's fair. I thought. I mean, if I was a Man City fan, like I hate to take their side, but there was some cause to be a little upset.
Which ones?
I'd have to go back and see the specific one, but I believe it was the first penalty that Vardy was awarded.
No, I remember watching both of them, and the first one might have been a little close. The second one was absolutely brilliant by Vardy to get position, and then they took him out from behind. Mm-hmm. But to be honest, both of them, like when I was watching, trying to be critical as critical as possible, I think they were both proper calls.
Oh, fair enough. I mean,
I remember the first one.
I was just trying to quote the expert pundit Rodri on his opinion of how Man City are kind of underdogs. So hard done by Man City with their 400 million pound.
Who would have thought?
in defenders.
But nonetheless, results 5-2. They couldn't get anything going. Ake had the header to make it 4-2 there, and then another penalty. So it was a borderline dominant performance by City, but they just get exposed in the back. I mean, John, where are they going wrong, or do you think they're kind of screwed?
I think that this is where you start to see the likes. Like, I think Pep Guardiola is an amazing coach who has always had amazing resources. Or I think he's a good coach who's always had amazing resources. I think it's a situation where if he were amazing, he'd be able to pull out of the tailspin. I think that we're starting to see the beginning of the end of Pep at City. I'm not saying that. Here's the thing. I think that the title race ultimately still is down to us and them. It's going to be tighter than it was last season.
Well, Villa's right there in third.
There you go. It's almost making a difference.
I think you bring up a good point, John, because their Champions League exit last year
was wild.
Yeah, but to a team like Lyon, and when you're a team with the pedigree of City, I think you're right. You start asking some questions.
Yeah, and this is coming from, I think at this table, I'm the biggest fan of Leicester, just in general, in terms of I think that they are. I think I got the problem based on our preseason discussions.
I had Brendan Rodgers getting.
Yeah,
I don't think that's happening.
There was a small part of me that really enjoyed seeing Brendan Rodgers beat Raheem Sterling.
Okay, I like that take because I can get on board with that.
But I think Leicester has shown that there is a chink in the City armor that has not been repaired since last season, and the Foxes are a strong team. That's what it sort of comes down to. I think that this is whether or not Pep can pull out of this shows sort of what type of guy he is, what type of manager he is, and whether or not he goes on to PSG and finally wins them a Champions League banner.
It's always been my biggest criticism of Pep, as opposed to guys like Jurgen Klopp, that Pep only ever goes to a fully loaded and usually extremely wealthy team. And then he shows up and the ownership, whether it be Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Man City, pretty much provide him with the resources he needs. And off he goes and wins a bunch of stuff.
Absolutely.
And a guy like Jurgen Klopp goes to Dortmund and propels them to dethrone Bayern, I think in successive seasons. And then comes to Liverpool and they were in 11th, or finished 10th or 11th, and then takes them to where we are today. So that's always been my biggest criticism, and I think it would look poor on Pep is if he made the independent decision to leave just because he's not doing so well. I mean, if, the Sheikh Mansour decides to get rid of him, that's one thing. But I think Pep has an opportunity at the moment, like you just alluded to make a name for himself as maybe more than just a guy who can get a bunch of rich owners and get a bunch of fun toys and win trophies.
And I think that this could be, I think we are maybe witnessing the last full season with Pep at the wheel at City.
Yeah. It's weird that I agree with you guys. That is weird enough. But no, I don't want to say he's a great coach, a great manager, because I think he's proven that he's done well with teams, and I put him and Mourinho in the same category. Mourinho did great with Inter and with Porto, and then all of a sudden he's the big wig, ends up going all these big teams, buy all the money and buy your players and win. And I think that's what Pep has fallen into, where that happened at Barca, and then it happened with Bayern, and then City. So I totally agree with you guys are coming from, and I always draw the parallels in hockey with Mike Babcock. Being a great.
Guardiola also just beat his players.
Yeah, well, Mike Babcock coaching the Detroit Red Wings to win the Stanley Cup, and I was like, a monkey probably could have coached that team because they were all Hall of Famers. You just let them go. He coached Team Canada. And they win all the time.
Underdog Team Canada.
And come on, you got a stacked team. What's going to happen there? Now, that's more or less how I feel, but there is something to be said about managing superstar players and keeping them happy and keeping them on point. Because City's got guys on their bench that could be starting for Liverpool, could be starting for other teams.
Well, you saw with Sane. He goes from the Man City bench to now a starter with now the champions of Europe.
So keeping world-class players happy and keeping that dynamic is an excessive, amazing skill. I think maybe it's, I don't want to say it's gotten old with Pep right now at City because they haven't changed over enough. They did just sign that Ruben Diaz from Benfica, so that was what, I'm just looking up now, 75.
75.
So like huge. So he's going to have to integrate real fast to fix up that back line.
So let's just look at the Pep-Jurgen sort of dichotomy here in terms of, like, we've seen it in Germany and we've seen it in England. And the difference between what happened in Germany and what happened in England is you had Klopp be in a situation where, yes, he does have success with Dortmund, but all of his top players get signed up by, well, let's be honest, the juggernaut that is Pep's Barca, or Pep's Bayern rather. You don't have that scenario in England. So Klopp is able to keep maintain the core of his team and then bring in players to strengthen.
He did lose Philippe Coutinho, which was a huge part of that at the time.
No. What I'm saying,
in hindsight, it was nothing. But at the time,
what I'm saying is that, like,
he left on top. Like, he was amazing. We got 150 million for him. But when I redo that every time, we got Alisson and Van Dijk for that.
What I'm saying, but that wasn't Liverpool at the top. That was Liverpool just before we got to the top. Before we won a European crown. That was just before we won a Premier League. What I'm saying is we've won the Premier League now, and Klopp has that core of that team, and he's strengthening on.
Okay, so we're not going to be getting poached like we used to be. Is what we're getting at.
Yeah, and Klopp. It's the first time for Klopp that he's got that sort of, like, base of resources to build on top.
Where people want to come here. And
Exactly. Right. So we've got a scenario that our coach is coaching outside of his comfort zone in a lot of ways, and Pep, I think, is coaching outside of his comfort zone, as he has in a few different situations where he's starting to, some of the shine is starting to wear off. Last season they were quite a bit behind us. It's whether or not they can bounce back from that, and I think we've seen time and time again. Once the shine starts going off with with Pep rather, once Pep starts falling out with certain players, he's not there much longer.
That'd be interesting to see. I mean, we'll see how it shakes up. And from one side of Anfield, let's go to across the park, because right next to us, top of the table, 3 games in, Everton, which looks like a completely different team right now.
Behind on goal difference.
Fair enough. I'll give you that. But top of the league, 3-0 right now. Man. Is it all James? Is it all James Rodriguez reshaping his team? Ancelotti's got his hooks in there now. What do we think?
I think it was honestly, it all started to happen.
Sorry, John. Just to correct you. Tied goal differential.
There you go.
Ahead on goals for. We are ahead on goals for.
I think it all started midway through last year when Ancelotti showed up. Like, I mean, obviously it wasn't the full reversal, but they went from being hilariously bad, like comically bad. It was great. And in the relegation zone, and then they ended up finishing a semi-respectable, like, 12th or whatever. Casual 50 points behind Liverpool. But the point is, like, he righted the ship, which is good. So I think it's a continuation of that. And then they bring in guys like James, who was named after James Bond, so that's just an unfair advantage.
Seriously?
Yeah.
We've got James Bond and Austin Powers as fans of our team.
Oh, that's a good point, though. Yeah. That must be a tough one for Daniel Craig.
I think it's a tough one for Mike Myers.
So I think it's been a long time coming. I mean, are they for real in that? Are they going to finish like top 4? I mean, I think they might reclaim the illustrious Everton trophy of finishing 7th.
I thought you were like the Liverpool,
the Everton trophy is the illustrious 7th place finish just outside Europa League. Or maybe we'll be Europa League. I could see them challenging for Europa League.
Here's a question for you guys. John, will throw this to you first. Do you want to see Everton do well so at least we can have a proper derby?
I don't care. I just want to beat them. Like that's honestly.
Yeah, do you want to beat a guy while he's down, or do you want to beat like Everton brings in all the players? You got Ancelotti, you got Hammers. They're playing amazing, and then we show up and then we beat them.
No, honestly, beating Everton just makes me happy. It doesn't matter the circumstance. Like honestly,
2-1.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. Just a previously almost anonymous Curtis Jones scoring and take booting them out of a cup like that
against their first team.
Against their first team, it was a beautiful thing. Listen, Everton could have a period of sustained success under Ancelotti, which, like for me, means like they could qualify for Europa and they might be challenging. They might get into a final of, say, an FA Cup. I don't think they're going to do a whole lot more than that. But like their issues, the issues with their squad are pretty deep, as far as I'm concerned. And like I don't know if like Ancelotti has the like career left to like he's an amazing coach, don't get me wrong. I think like I don't know if he has the career left to deal with the problems to give them a period of actual sustained success. Like they have problems going back to Moyes, where they bring in players, and certainly post Moyes they bring in players who are supposed to be like the sort of the project of the day, and they're on ridiculous wages, and like suddenly they can't get any game time. I'm trying to think of the name of the striker. Cenk Tosun gets brought in for like ridiculous money. He's on. I want to say he's one of their top end earners. He can't get a game, and he can't seem to score a goal for them. Like there are problems, sort of. Kind of the similar things happening with United, where like they have just like bloat, particularly in the middle of the park for Everton, that they just can't deal with. Where like a talent like James Rodriguez will paper that over, but like long term, I don't know.
Well, and I don't know Everton inside notes. I do know that I do like Yerry Mina, the Colombian center back there. He's or fullback. He's done well. And then they got Richarlison. As much as he pisses me off, he's still talented. And Calvert-Lewin, I've seen him. I don't follow him enough, but I keep seeing his name come up and watch some highlights.
Richarlison as well.
I just said that.
Did you say that? Sorry, I'm looking up stats right now.
Oh, man.
On Facebook.
Walk and chew gum, man.
Sorry, I'm like really,
One of my concerns, though, is Jordan Pickford.
He's just got little arms.
Poor guy.
Oh.
Don't know if he's reliable enough in there, but I love his attitude. Like he's a hard-nosed kind of guy, but not sure if he's going to be able to carry them backbone in there. But nonetheless, that was the week that was, man. Everton's right up there. City's dropping points. I think it's way too early for anybody to make any proper predictions or say City is definitely falling off or Everton and Leicester are making the runs again. I think we've established that Leicester is, not quite the finishers that they were. They should have finished last year, but
no finish, Brandon.
That's it. So that wraps up a lot of the points we wanted to touch base with on already.
Yeah. Number one Everton podcast in Canada, too.
Apparently, yeah. So we'll hit up both markets now.
Yeah.
And before we get into follow-ups for next week's games, which we've got Arsenal again and Villa, I think Ben's going to take over for a minute. You had a little trivia you're going to put me and John through,
I actually didn't. I thought you had the trivia.
I thought you said you were going to do it. I always have trivia ready. I can definitely do it.
I could invent something. I don't think it's going to be very good.
Don't you worry.
I feel like John and JP got to rescue me here.
I got one. We're good to go.
I'm no finished Ben.
Apparently so there. Ben Rogers.
me and Brendan are...
So I did mention this. I mentioned it before we started. And I'm glad I'm going to get to do it now. Because you guys might need a pen and paper just to make sure you write down, you keep track of names here.
Always.
So I mentioned The Athletic. They released their Premier League 60 about a month or two ago. And I think you guys might read a bit, so you might have actually gotten it.
I'm a proud subscriber.
Okay,
excellent journalism.
So you might have gone through this one. This was at The Athletic's top Premier League players, top 60. It's kind of weird they were 60. They thought 50 wasn't enough, 100 was too many. And conveniently, in this Athletic Premier League 60, they had 10 Liverpool players. Now, not just current, They could have been transferred, they could have left, they could have been back and forth, whatever the case was. There are 10 of them. So I'm going to let you guys, we're going to go back and forth here.
Well, I'm just going to go quickly check Facebook for a second.
Nice! Leave that off there. I got my score last time. We're going to go back and forth. I should have given you the 10 because I need to start off your point. Handsome Jamie, you got a coin on you maybe? Flipper there? Or give me a shoot. Give me like a 2 or 1 behind your back. And okay, Ben, so you got a 2 or 1 behind his back? 2. He has got a 2. So
I know.
Ben's going first.
I know Jamie.
He knows his 2.
He's a big 2 guy.
So, we got 10 Liverpool players in this top 60. They've played for Liverpool at some point. And this is the, I believe...
Premier League era?
Premier League era.
Oh, okay.
Yes, all Premier League era, I believe here. Now, 10 of them, and like I did last time, I want you to give me their name. And last time it was the FIFA rankings. So I want you to give me where you think they might have been ranked in the mix. Or a bonus point there.
Not to get bonus points. Can we be within 5?
No. Bonus point, man. You gotta work for it.
That's right. You gotta earn it. Okay, I'm gonna say Jamie Carragher.
Jamie Carragher. And where do you think? I will tell you that is a correct answer. And where do you think he is?
48.
48. That is incorrect. And I'm not going to tell you where because that might help out later on for you guys. So I'll give you guys the numbers later. But Ben, you are correct with Jamie Carragher.
I'm going to go for the easy answer and the easy bonus point. Gerard 8.
That was way too easy. For the bonus point too. I don't know if that was he actually was.
Well, I feel like
8 or they did that conveniently
because they put Lampard at 6 or whatever. Are you trying to tell me Lampard is better than Gerard?
I mean, like
they had a good piece on it, and I don't necessarily agree with it, but it is what it is.
Gerard was the only one in the top 10 who did not win a Premier League, and I kind of like him being number 8 as a result.
All right, fair point. Fair point. All right, Ben, back to you.
Robbie Fowler.
And I'll tell you that is correct. And where do you think he landed in there?
I'm going to say 32.
That is incorrect.
Yeah, I see. I think we should deduct that point for John, that bonus point, because he literally sent me the link. So
So you had an option to choose number 8 and Gerard. Like you had the same.
Put it this way: if nobody gets any other one, maybe I'll drop that.
Redacted.
But let's see how we go here so far. So 3 for 3 so far, guys. I like it. What do we got here?
Mo Salah, and I feel like he was like 26.
Mo Salah is in there, but he is not 26. All right.
So this is getting tough though because I'm trying to think like is recency bias a thing? Because I'm like
I'm not going to tell you.
My mind's
and
going.
I'll tell you, there's probably only 1, maybe 2 that you guys were like, oh really? Okay, I guess maybe. Maybe that's all I'm going to say there.
Yeah. So I mean, like my mind's going to Origi for top 5.
That's pretty easy sell. There.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with Sadio Mane.
Sadio Mane. Correct.
Oh man, I was okay. Yeah, I didn't know.
And what do you think his number is?
I'm going to say 27.
That is incorrect.
I'm just throwing out random numbers.
That's the idea of bonus points, man. You got to look for it, or you really got to watch. And hey, John, put it together.
Like John.
He pulled the easy one out. So give me another one there, John.
All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take a bit of a punt here. You said
punting already, man.
There were some that you said there were some that were maybe questionable that we wouldn't get.
Okay, I don't want to mislead you guys. I think they're all deserving.
No, I think that this player is deserving as well, and I'm going to go Sterling.
Raheem Sterling. Correct. He's in there.
18.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Sorry, that's a little much on that. I'll give you that. But he is in the top 60 here. So we got 4 left.
Okay, yeah. The Premier League era makes it tough because, like
I just said, we're not looking at Graham Souness and Ken Dalglish. So
yeah, I know that. Yeah.
There's nobody you're not gonna be like, who the hell is that?
I know. I'm just trying to think. So I'm gonna take a guess here.
Remember, it could be former, doesn't it?
Luis Suarez.
Suarez, correct.
Yeah,
he's in there.
Thought he would.
Handsome Jamie was liking that one there. And what do you think he was at?
I'm gonna.
Maybe I should have given you guys a little range on this. Actually, you know what? No, John went first. I'm gonna go on a range on the
Can I get the mercy rule on mine? Perfect. That's how I passed high school.
If we do a plus or minus 3. I'm going to give you a plus or minus 3.
26.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Suarez is in the mix there.
Yeah.
All right. So it's 4-4. John's got the bonus points.
I deserved.
All right, I think sort of this last gimme is Bobby.
Bobby Firmino. Incorrect.
Really?
Did not make it in there.
Interesting.
It's because he can't score at Anfield. Yeah.
He got one last year.
I'm.
So Ben, this could be a
big. So no Bobby, huh?
No Bobby.
The disrespect.
I just want to point out he did start. He had Champions Advantage to begin with. So
that's true. I'm gonna say this could be wrong. Phil Coutinho.
Felipe Coutinho. Incorrect.
I was gonna say like Coutinho made it. Bobby did.
Oh, let's let the advantage slip. So okay, all right.
I blew it.
All right, this one is the first one that I'm feeling like I felt pretty confident about. Bobby ended up being wrong. This is the first one where I'm not as confident, but I do think that he belongs in the top 60. Xabi Alonso.
Javi Alonso. Incorrect.
Okay.
Oh, guys. Okay. So now.
No. I got a next one here. It's okay. I'm gonna win this advantage here.
All right. I feel like you guys are overthinking a little too much here.
If that's something I never do. Just think too much. I'm gonna say Fernando Torres.
Liverpool's number 9.
You know what? He's not in there.
That's kind of surprising.
Yeah. That's actually
especially his illustrious Chelsea career.
I'm canceling.
You know what? I think that was maybe because he was
he was so terrible at Chelsea.
He just his longevity maybe wasn't there, but nonetheless, yeah, it's kind of interesting.
All right, I'm playing a recency bias game here. Virgil van Dijk.
He's in there. He's in there.
30.
Oh nope, no bonus point. On that one.
Okay.
Down to the last two, guys. Just to recap. Carragher, Fowler, Van Dijk, Gerrard, Salah, Suarez, Mane, and Sterling. 2 left.
It's getting tough here.
I would say one might be like, really? But then I think if you think of the body of work for both of these guys is worthwhile. One active, one inactive.
Okay, that's good to know.
I'll give you that.
Like, and when you say active, do you mean on the current squad?
No, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say they are actively playing.
I see.
I got another hint I can give afterwards too.
I don't want to say Trent or Robbo because I don't want to say them because.
Well, you're saying them, so you want to say it.
Only because these lists are kind of weird. I'm going to say Allison.
Nope.
Yeah.
He's only been in the Premier League for 2 years.
Well, so is Van Dijk. Well, Van Dijk's 3 years.
Premier League.
Oh, the Premier League. Yeah, okay. He's played for this guy. Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
All right, John, you can take commanding lead here.
And this is maybe a difficult call, but if I don't get this, I'm willing to go out on my sword and understanding the audience that I have and say Jimmy Milner.
Who likes Jimmy?
Not the Athletic?
He's on.
That is ridiculous.
Young player of the year with City. Years there. You got a ranking for him?
Ridiculous.
I'm going to say like
72.
55. Like,
incorrect.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, he's one.
One left.
John's
that
one.
Was the active player. Last one is not active.
Sammy Hipia.
No, you can still tie with the correct answer and the ranking.
I'm saying Sammy Hipia.
Incorrect. No, Sammy Hipia.
What?
That's what I was thinking.
You were thinking that? Okay, yeah.
John, you can seal it.
Momo Sissoko's career was too short.
Sissoko. Love that name though. Jamie, you're looking strong. You're trying.
Can handsome Jamie? Can handsome Jamie steal for me?
You still have a chance to tie it.
That's true. Yeah.
Technically tie it.
I'm just gonna go casually to the.
So this person's retired, is what you said.
Well, he didn't say retired. He said not active for Liverpool.
That's.
You said one active and one not active.
So he's not playing. He's not playing
professional football. We're not playing for Liverpool.
I don't
We're
know.
not playing
I might have to
Premier
go.
League.
How are we doing for time here, Jamie?
We're
54.
54. All right, I might give you a little more. No, you went first though, so I'm not going to give you that. I'm not going to correct you there, Jamie.
Pepe's in the Prem.
yeah.
So are we talking like?
That'd be ridiculous.
I'll give you one more hint once for the last round because Ben's got a chance to tie it up here. After you guess though, John. So
Incorrectly.
he's inactive though.
Inactive. Okay.
Inactive. So I'll just say he's not playing in the Premier League.
All right.
And I'll give one more hint afterwards.
Like for me.
Yeah. Well, for the next
Because
round.
we got like 6 minutes to do our rapid fire predictions.
That's right.
Jeez, I don't even know. I don't even know who's like playing abroad or anything like that.
I just said not active.
Fowler.
I already said Fowler.
You did?
Yeah, and he's coaching in Australia right now.
Then damn.
Need an answer. 5.
Sissoko. Screw it. I'm not going to get
It
it.
is
So
not Sissoko.
Yeah.
So I'll let it in. All right. So the hint that might give it away a bit is that he's not active in the Premier League. He's not playing either, but he's still involved with the Premier League. I don't want to go too far because that might give me.
Colo Torre.
Is that a yes?
Sure.
What's his involvement with the Premier League?
I don't know.
he's coaching for Leicester, isn't he?
Is he? No,
Yeah, I think
it's not him.
I think he's with.
So John,
Jamie's on my team.
I'm
so
going to give Jamie a chance to wrap it up.
Michael Owen.
Michael.
That makes total sense. Why didn't I?
That's what I was saying, man.
He's a Man United legend.
That was the expression I was expecting there.
Man United.
Ben, just for posterity, think. Or actually, no, I'll give it to Jamie. Where do you think he might be ranked in there?
Ooh. Top 60. Let's go 27.
Yeah, not quite. 36. So the rankings: Carragher's 59, Jimmy 44, Fowler 42, Van Dijk 39, Sterling 38, Mane 37, Owen 36, Suarez 34, Salah 25, and the winner, John Dulon, with Steven Gerrard at number 8. All right. So well done, John, winning that round there. Now let's wrap her up here. We got 2 games to talk about Thursday. We got Arsenal, the Carabao Cup. John, we got the kids playing. We got a big score. Last year, 5-5 in the penalties. That was a hell of a game. We were laughing the whole time with that ridiculousness. What are your quick predictions, and how do you think the game's going to go?
Yeah, I mean, like as you folks are listening to this right now, like you probably actually know what the what the lineup is, and sort of know what the first probably 10 minutes of the game already looks like. But honestly, I would play relatively the same squad that we saw against Lincoln City. Maybe slot in Matip if he's fit. Certainly slot in Hendo if he's fit. I'd like to see Keita start. I'd like to see Elliott start. I'd like to see Jota start. So I think honestly, this is a game where Klopp doesn't want to necessarily lose it, but he doesn't necessarily want to win it either.
Yeah, I would like to see just a little more experience in there than all the kids, but I know what you're getting at. You're confident Liverpool's going to take it, though?
I think it's going to be... I think
Tyler.
Liverpool could win it.
All right. I think Liverpool will take it. Then we got, on Sunday, October 4th, we got Villa. They've been doing well. Beat Sheffield. They beat Fulham. Do we got any surprise starters? How do you think the game's going to go there?
The Aston Villa, Champions League bound at the moment. So yeah. Well, I mean, honestly,
You're not wrong.
they are 0-2 or 2-0. I keep doing that. Sorry about that. So I mean, like, yeah, they've had some easy opposition, red carded Sheffield and Fulham, but I think they're not a team to be taken lightly when you got the likes of Jack Grealish, who re-signed. I was sure he was going to leave.
Surprised, but I can respect that.
Tyrone Mings as well.
I got both their names right
There you go, phenomenal guys. I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park. However, if that Arsenal game is any indication, I mean, I'll always caveat these predictions with if we played like we played there, then I think we'll be all right. I'm calling a comfortable 3-0 win.
Woohoo! 3-0 win.
But it's comfortable. Well, actually, no. I'll take back the comfortable part. It'll be an entertaining game. Villa will give us some stress, but I think it's gonna be a 3-0 win.
Entertaining.
Exactly.
I think any 3-0. Rarely is a 3-0 win going to be not entertaining.
Yeah.
John, what do you think? What do you got for scoreline here?
You know what? I've gone conservative so far. I'm going to say 4-0.
I want to show you my screen, John, because that's what I predicted too. I was thinking this is going to be I think the boys are rolling right now. I even said I was a little worried after the end of last season and a Leeds game, but I think they're back on track, and I think they're going to steamroll them. It'll be entertaining. They might have some flashes, but I think the Liverpool's back on points.
It really just depends on if John Terry has been visiting some of the houses on the first team to how well Aston Villa plays.
Just keep all the wives happy.
Yes.
Mo looks like scoring. Mane looks like scoring. Jota looks like scoring. We're looking good.
I can't disagree with any of those. Handsome Jamie, what do you think, man?
3-1.
3-1.
Do you think Thiago will visit a couple of the Villa players?
Just to make sure that you can't feel the whole squad there.
Yeah.
So, comfortable win for all of us. Me and John with the 4-0, Ben with the 3-0, and Jamie's got no faith in Allison anymore, so he's saying the 3-1 there.
It's not else. It's the others.
Ooh.
Gomez
Gomez
had his redemption game, so he's back. He's officially back.
Apparently, Jamie thinks that's going to be that's going to be the peak of his career now. He's going to fall off the radar next week.
Did it before.
Kind of true. But anyway, we're going to leave that alone for that. Maybe we'll bring that up next week. Hopefully we won't, because maybe we can mock Jamie on his lack of faith in the back line. Nonetheless, guys, we're going to wrap her up here. John, you look excited there.
I'm just excited for more Liverpool.
That's it, man. I loved how we had barely an off season. Like, we had a long layoff, but it's like season's over, back again. You're going to be back in the pub anytime soon with us?
I'm waiting for the end of at least the end of the emergency measures.
All right, man. Hopefully we'll see you soon there. Ben, I've been seeing you there at the games and halftime shows at during at least.
Yeah, always a good time.
Any closing remarks here?
No, like I'll say, check us out on Spotify now. Definitely subscribe. On Instagram at the Canada Cop, and on Twitter at
Yet to be determined, but probably at TCK Podcast.
TCK Podcast. Eventually, we'll be up on iTunes soon, and check us out on YouTube as well. You can see all of our beautiful faces as we argue with each other.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad everybody was here. It's always a good time, boys. And hey, we're working our way up to being the premier podcast for Liverpool in
certainly
at least in Nova Scotia. At least in Nova Scotia. Hopefully into the rest of Canada. So we'll hopefully hear from you guys again soon. Cheers.